So here it is. A very, very good evening to everyone. Yesterday, okay, recorded. Meeting has been recorded. Okay. So yesterday we did React, right? So what we did in React yesterday, we looked into why React. We did a simple example of React. We tried to understand, these two components, React DOM, React component, the Babel compiler, the JSX. We said that in React, we can create two components, two ways of creating React components. One is old JavaScript pure closures way and the classes way of ES6, right? And so on. And today we'll be doing Angular. So remember, Saturday it will be React and Sunday it will be Angular, right? So today is the day of Angular. So first thing, before even we start with Angular, right? Like for example, if you remember yesterday, let me just open up my VS Code out here. So yesterday when I did React, right, I did not install anything. I just went ahead, I put the React package online, so if you just remember, let me just open up the React code. So yesterday what I did is if you see the syntax of React, it was very easy, right? I just put these two packages at the top, right? And then I wrote a simple function and React started working, right? So React, when you say you want to start React, it is damn easy in terms that it sticks to pure JavaScript. But now coming to Angular. Angular is not like this. Angular is a framework. So it's a very sophisticated framework. So you can think about this React is, standing with a sword and a bow and an arrow, and you can also go and train him to use something more sophisticated, right? So it's at a very native level, very near to JavaScript. That's what, if you look at the market, everyone says React is very near to JavaScript, right? But when it comes to Angular, right, if you say you want to even start with Angular, you have to know a lot of other things because it is a framework, right? In Angular, you cannot write like this in a very simple way, hello world. It is very difficult, right? So to start to learn Angular, you need to know some prerequisite. So let me just outline those prerequisite and then I will start Angular. So remember, like Saturday and Sunday, if you just try to attend, you can get very easily the differences between React and Angular. So for Angular to start with, the first thing is you have to know Node and Npm. And this will also be taught in React. In React also, we have to know Node and Npm when we want to do sophisticated projects, right? But at least you have to have an idea of Node and Npm. Then you have to have an idea of TypeScript, right? And then you can start Angular. This is for people who have not done anything of Node and Npm, right? So for them, at least these first two steps has to complete it, right? So if you look at Angular, Angular says that no, like, let's not code in pure JavaScript. He uses TypeScript. I'll come to what is TypeScript. While when you look at React, React says that no problem, use functions, use your old JavaScript variables. I will work with you. But Angular says no, like use TypeScript, right? And then TypeScript gets converted into JavaScript. So Angular is a framework, React is a library. Angular comes with a lot of things, right? So first, let us try to understand this Node and Npm. So people who have already done Node and Npm, this can be a revision for you. But very quickly, I'll just explain you this Node. So here it is. I'm going to just go to Node.js site. This is the Node.js site. So what exactly is Node? Node is nothing but it is a JavaScript runtime which is built on Chrome V8 engine, right? This Chrome, when you look at any compiler like C++ compiler or runtime, or when you look at a .NET runtime, when you look at a Java runtime. So if you want to run a Java code, you have to install the Java runtime and then you can run it. If you say you want to run a C# code, you have to install the .NET runtime. In the same way for C++, right? But now let us say if I want to run JavaScript, I want to run JavaScript, from my console application, or I want to go and create a Windows application using JavaScript or something, I want to create outside the browser. It should be a separate setup. That means we need some kind of a runtime, some kind of a SDK or runtime, install in a computer, right? And that's what this Chrome V8 engine is. You can see this Node.js. It is a JavaScript runtime. It is a setup which you can install in your computer, and then JavaScript can run as a local code, right? So what this Node.js team has done to create this JavaScript runtime, they use something called as Chrome V8 engine. What is this Chrome V8 engine? This Chrome V8 engine, inside the Chrome, inside all browsers, we have we have a JavaScript compiler or a debugger or an interpreter. So when you go to Internet Explorer, it has something. When you go to Edge, it has something. In the same way with Chrome, we have this something called as Chromium, or the V8 engine, I will say rather. This V8 says that I'm a very super fast engine. I can run JavaScript. I can compile JavaScript. I can debug JavaScript. That's why if you see here, a lot of our developers always go and inspect or debug JavaScript from here. We are actually debugging JavaScript from here. You are actually using the Chrome V8 engine. So if you see many of our developer friends, they put a debug point here. They use this. Why? Because this is nothing but the Chrome debugger, the Chrome compiler, right? So what they have done is they have taken this Chrome V8 engine and they have built this Node.js setup. And once you install this Node.js setup in your computer, you can run JavaScript outside the browser, right? So let me show a very simple demo here. Now you can see there are two setups here. One is the latest one is the old one, stable one. So you can download any one of them. I would suggest to download the latest one. In case you're working on a project, if in the same computer, if you're working on a project, you can just stick to the stable one as well. Like for example, I'm working on very serious projects, so I don't want to upgrade to 16.4 because it can have bugs and so on, right? But use any one of them. So once you go and you install this, very easy installation. You can just send. And so I'll open up a folder here. Let me create a folder here. So this is React Learn. This is React Learn. Hang on, let me see. Okay. Okay, so there are some, let me see the chats here. Okay, fine. Let me go and create a folder here. This is Angular Learn. So we'll learn all the Angular learnings we'll put here, right? So here it is. Now, please note, I have already installed Node.js in my computer, right? And just ensure that you run your VS Code in a admin mode, because when you say you want to run Node.js commands, then Node.js actually is a compiler, right? It will go, it will run, it will probably need some exclusive rights. So just go and ensure that you run Node.js, run VS Code as admin, right? So now here it is. Now inside VS Code, you have something called as a terminal. This terminal, what it does is it helps you to go and fire any kind of console command, so for example, directory, and clear screen and what you call change directory. So those kind of things, DOS commands, you can actually fire from here, right? So now I will go here. I want to see that is Node installed in my computer or not. So I can say node-v. So that will tell me, what kind of version is installed in my computer. So you can see it is 14.6. So I have a little bit of old version because I'm working on a project. I have 5-6 projects which I'm actually looking after as a lead, and I have to stick to that version, right? Fine. So I have this node here, fine. So let me go here now and let me create a file. So let us say sum.js. So I'll say here where x is equal to 0. Let's say some JavaScript code we'll write, and I will say here console.log. Now remember that I can't do document.write. I can't do alert. I can't do document.write. I can't do alert because I am not running inside a browser. The document object model is where you can display alerts, where you can say document.write. You can have text boxes, but when you're running in a console, when you're running outside the browser, then you can't use those commands, right? So what I'll do is I'll use the console.log here, which will help us to see that what is the value of x. This is a very simple JavaScript program. Now what I can do, I can say, okay, node, go ahead and run sum.js. And there it is. It just increments the value 1 and displays it. The goal of showing this demo is that node is a compiler, or I can say node is a runtime. The runtime is the right word. It helps you to run JavaScript code without the browser. So you can go and you can create server-side applications. You can go and you can create Windows forms. When I say Windows forms, mean the UI is HTML, and so on, right? So that's what exactly is Node, right? So the first topic, which I am touch basing here. Now remember, here I've just given a very broad topic that I will run your first Angular application, but the subtopics are first lab 1, what is Node, and run a simple application, right? So that's the first topic I'm taking here, right? Okay. Now that was a very brief explanation of Node. I can just go back again. And just show you that definition. Node.js is a JavaScript runtime built on Chrome engine, right? Now I can see some questions here. I can see the question from Ajay Avasthi here. I can just go and just see this question here. So, but we can run JavaScript without installing anything even in console. I don't know, Ajay, how to run that, because if I have JavaScript, how do I run it? Let me know. You need some kind of an interpreter for that language, right? Or some kind of a runtime. If you want to run a C++ compiled code or whatever code, right? You need some interpreter, some compiler. The running inside the browser is possible, absolutely, that is there. But running outside the browser, let me know, without installing Node or any other framework. There are many other frameworks also, which actually can run JavaScript outside the browser, but I am not aware of it. Okay, but without any installation, I'm not aware how to run JavaScript outside the browser, right? So that's what the use of Node.js is. Now with Node.js, guys, so let me continue with my lectures here. I will come back after 15 minutes. I will come back to questions. Now, the next thing also, what we have to know, that inside Node, we have to know there is something called as NPM. So first thing, point number 1, we are not trying, here we are trying to learn Angular. So I'm not going to make you a Node programmer. So I will not teach you Node programming. Remember that this code which I've written here is very, very lame. But when you talk about Node programming, there are lots of other syntaxes like import and export and require and so on. So let's not get into that, because the goal here is to not learn Node, but to learn Angular. So to learn Angular, the next thing, inside the Node installation, there is something called as NPM, right? So let us see a lab of, so here, what is NPM? Let us understand this, and let us see a small demonstration of NPM, right? NPM stands for Node Package Manager. Node Package Manager. It, in simple words, NPM helps you to get any JavaScript framework from online into your computer. I repeat this. In simple words, NPM helps to get JavaScript frameworks, right, from online into your computer, right? For example, you want to get jQuery. So what you will do, you will go to jquery.org, you will install this, that, and you will copy it, you will zip it and unzip it, whatever, right? You want knockout.js, you want. But now here with this NPM, it all comes like in a single box. So for example, what I can do here, I can just say npm install jQuery. And this npm command will go online. You can see at the left-hand side, it has created a folder called as node_module. This is absolutely like node_module. It's a reserved folder, right? And in this, he has brought in jQuery, which you can use in your program. In the same way, I can go here and I can say, again, like CLS, npm install, let us say Lodash, right? Lodash is again a very awesome JavaScript framework, which has JavaScript utility, I will say, which has lots of ready-made functions. So if you go and if you see in node_module now, let me refresh, you will see there is Lodash and the files for it, right? Let me try to do npm install Angular. Now you must be thinking, hey, like, go ahead, install Angular then. Okay. So npm install Angular. What does happen? Let us see. It goes, it installs Angular. And at the left-hand side, I can see Angular. But this Angular is Angular 1. This is Angular version 1. So this is not what we are interested to learn. We are interested to learn the recent version of Angular. We are interested to learn the Angular 2 family, right? So remember that with a simple npm install, Angular does not get installed, right? It will install Angular 1, right? But the point here is this npm Node Package Manager is like your NuGet package. So in the NuGet package, if you want to get unit testing code or something, right, you go to your Visual Studio, you say in the NuGet package, oh, search this, install it. That's what it does, right? So this is the second thing we have to know. Node Package Manager. You will be using NPM left and right in Angular projects. In any project, even in React also, we are going to use NPM in the second lecture. NPM you will be using left and right. Okay. So that was a very simple example of NPM. So remember NPM install whatever is the framework. Right. Guys, you can start putting your questions. After lab 3, I will come and I will try to answer those questions. Right. So let's say lab 3 now. So now you have known Node, right? You have also known a simple syntax of NPM, how to bring the frameworks into your computer, right? Now think about it. You are working on a project, right? And let's say this is sum.js. So this is using jQuery, must be. I assume like this. Assume this is using jQuery. This is also using, let's say Lodash. It's using lots of code out here, right? Now, as a developer, when you check in your code into your into your source safe or into your source control, you check in only your source code. So you will check in this sum.js, but you will not check in node underscore modules. You don't check in SDKs and frameworks inside the inside your source safe or inside your source control, right? So that means that this will get installed depending on wherever the developer is working. He will only check in the code. So must be there is an HTML here, assume some HTML. So yes, he can check in this HTML, must be, right? But this node underscore module, nobody checks. Nobody checks in Java runtime into source safe. Nobody checks in .NET, and you install it separately, right? So that means that in project also, nobody will be checking in node underscore module. So must be when the developer does a get latest, right? This is not present. This is what is present, right? So now again, he has to go and say npm install Angular, npm install jQuery, npm install Lodash. We need some reference file. We need some reference file where all the references of our project should be there, right? And that is what exactly is package.json. Package.json is a file where all our references are present, right? So to create a package.json file, what you will do is you will use something called as npm init. Right? I can see there are some questions here saying, sir, like, when will we practice this? After this, you will get this video. From Monday to Friday, you have excellent chance of practicing. 1 hour of video I will give you. Just practice 15 minutes every day. Any issues you have, please contact on Questpond. I will help you out. Don't worry, right? Today's goal of this lecture is to get you kick-started. Then you have the second training, third training. Slowly, you will get into Angular. Don't worry about the practice. At this moment, see, like, look at this. In this room itself, I have 100 people. So it's going to be very difficult at the start to do hands-on. But slowly what we will do is Monday to Friday is your chance. Connect to me. We can sit in a group. If somebody is not able to do npm install, I'm there to help out, right? So the hands-on now is very difficult. Today we'll do just 1 hour of lecture. Huh? I can understand hands-on is important. So now here, sorry, I'm coming back again. So to create package.json, npm init. This is again a command. So I will give some name to this package. I will say my project 123, some name of the project, right? And just these are like fillers, leave it. Once I fire the npm init command, so I just put the name and say enter. Must be this, we will learn sometimes, sitting on a beer, what the description, other thing is. But you can see here in this package.json file, he has created something, right? He has created a package.json file. So now what I will do is now if I go and if I install anything, for example, if I go and if I install, let us say npm install jQuery. So what he does now, one is that he will install the project into node underscore module, and also he will make an entry into the dependencies of package.json. In the same way, watch this. If I go and if I say npm install knockout, one more good framework, old framework for doing MVC, it will install and he will make an entry into the file, right? So now let us say that you don't have this node underscore modules folder. You don't have it, right? So you need your source code and you need package.json. And then what you can do is you can go here and say, okay, npm just install. So you don't have to now say npm install jQuery, npm install knockout. You don't have to say that, right? Just do npm install and both the packages are now installed in your computer, right? So package.json file, it has the references, right? Package.json file. So to create this, you will need the npm init command. We did that, right? But what is package.json file? It's nothing but it has references of JavaScript frameworks, what you have used in your project, right? Simple. Okay. So guys, just try to follow my labs. Lab 1, do this. Lab 2, do this. Lab 3, do this. Just follow the lab. Just follow Sundays. In 4 Sundays, I will tell you, you will be running your first Angular application with the screen. 4 hours. And between Monday to Friday, 10, 15 minutes of practice, nothing else. Angular is done, right? That's a guarantee from me, okay? Because I will not be teaching you over. So here's why I believe I can teach you in 4 hours, because I will not be teaching you unnecessary things. I will be teaching to the point, right? So guys, I'm going to go to questions now. What does npm init do? So attend both Saturday and Sunday. So here it is, guys. Let me start from the top. Okay, how JWT token works. Okay, that's something we'll see sometimes later. Okay, let me take up all the questions. Some way, if I can, must be support, you can help me in this. Huh? So here it is, mail. Okay, I don't know what it is. How to do JWT authentication. Wait for that. I will come to that. This is going to be, must be the 6th or 7th Sunday. I'll talk about it. So will you teach from scratch like React, Angular, MVC Core? Absolutely, this is from scratch, Uma. You saw that I have not assumed that you know Node. I have not assumed that you know NPM. So I have not assumed anything. I've just assumed that probably you know HTML and bit of JavaScript, right? So everything is from scratch. Just start from lab 1, lab 2, and so. If I don't need jQuery, okay, so here it is. If I don't need jQuery folder, can we uninstall NPM? You can uninstall NPM, but for Angular, Venkata, you will need NPM. NPM, you will need it. Because when you're doing Angular, you have to install grid, you have to install this, you have to install that, you have to install an autocomplete box. See, in bigger projects, without a package manager, it is not going to work out. You can't go manually and start, oh, let's do this, let's install this. Those days are gone. For all projects, serious JavaScript enterprise projects, without NPM, it is difficult. Do we have to attend both Saturday and Sundays? Is there a dependency from one? There is no dependency between both these classes. But I would suggest, see both sides of the coin. Look at React, because a lot of people are saying, right, React versus Angular. So one Saturday see React, one Saturday see on Sunday see Angular. I think both of them will complete it. 4 Saturdays and 4 Sundays. That's it. From here, 4 hours. I'm telling you, React and Angular, you will be at least at an average level. Yes, you understand what the things are, right? So please try to stick. Npm install. Oh, you want to install jQuery? Yes, absolutely. I'm sorry, Venkat. I thought that you want to uninstall npm. Yeah, you are right. If you want to just uninstall jQuery, npm uninstall jQuery. Yes. What does npm init command do? Npm init command creates the package.json file. It creates, I have already shown it. It creates the package.json file. Okay, design pattern. Yes, Ashok, that's really, let me look at it. So here's a question from Ashok here. Would it be better if you include .NET Core API 5.0? It's okay. So here it is. I know that I gave you a very, very broad, what do you call, a category out here, but definitely this one design pattern will be very difficult out here. Ashok, we can have a separate lecture for this, but I can try to cover repository. Even CQRS will make the lecture very big, right? So we already had like microservices training some 3-4 months back, right? So at that time, the focus was design pattern, but .NET Core API will be there. I will try to cover repository as well, right? DevOps CI/CD. Let us see if we can get that into this. And identity is there. Identity, I'll try. DevOps. Let me look into it, right? Correspond support. Can you put this as a request, right? We'll see how we'll evolve. So guys, here it is. I just given a broader outline, and I will be adding things out here. So let me do like this. Let me add that identity. I liked it. Identity and the .NET API. Remember this one, for .NET. So let me add this identity, and yes, that web API. Let me add it so that, but that repository, etc. Give me some time. We'll see. So I'll just add this topic out here because both times, must be this. MVC Core, we can take a joint training for both React and Angular. So we'll do that. Don't worry. What is Lodash in node_modules? Lodash. Okay, Lodash. Okay, so Lodash is nothing but it's a JavaScript utility, right? And it is like a pickle. I always think that without Lodash, no JavaScript project can get completed. This Lodash has huge libraries out here. You say you want to go and concatenate something, it has something. You say you want to go and sort. You say you want to reverse. You say you want to do a for each on a collection, group by. Lodash, you can think about, it has lot of utilities, date and time and so on, which you can use and you can make your coding more simple. Underscore.js, its first name was underscore.js. Lodash means low dash. The keyboard's underscore is a low, L-O-W, Lodash. So very old framework, right? Okay. Okay, guys, I'll take up the last question, and again I'll go back to this. Guys, I'm not taking these questions here now. Is .NET dying and so on? Believe me, it is not dying. Those questions, it will really consume my time. But there was one question which I want to definitely talk. Can we run Angular application without node_modules? I would like to take this question. That means that can we run Angular without NPM? You can, but I would say leave it. See, Angular is a framework. If you try to do without NPM, without TypeScript, right, you are going to go and cook rice with a small lamp. You will do it, but it will take like 20 days to run your first Angular application. For React, it is very easy. As I've told, React is very near to JavaScript. So you just take the scripts, react.dom, render, done. But here it is not like that. Here he comes with everything. He comes with a tank, he comes with a gun, he comes with everything, with all ammunitions, everything. It's a framework. So it would be very stupid enough to even go and try to run something without NPM and TypeScript, right? So guys, let us continue ahead. I'll come back to questions here. And remember that you always have the coming Saturday and Sundays also for questions. So fine, this is package.json, great, okay. One topic which I will keep out here at this moment, not now, because I want to just make sure that today we run our first Angular application. One topic of discussion, which we will do must be in the next Sunday. What exactly is this caret sign and what exactly is this tilde sign out here? So there are two questions which I'm keeping pending out here. What is this caret sign here, right? What we have, and what is this package log.json? Must be this. I give it as a homework, but I will take it in the next class. So I will say that this, what is package log.json? Please remind me of this in the next lecture, right? And what is, how do you say it? Semantic versioning. What is semantic versioning in Angular, right? This one, what you see out here, caret and this sign, this is something called a semantic versioning in Angular, right? So this one, I'm going to go and highlight it as just as a red, right? So that we can take this up, right? Okay, the next thing, what you need to know is you need to know TypeScript. What you need to know is you need to know TypeScript, right? TypeScript, right? TypeScript. So if you remember yesterday, I talked about closures. I talked about functions. It is so difficult to write JavaScript code. If you want to write a self-contained code, yesterday I talked about closures. I wrote a function inside a function. Then I said return, and then I said ify, and so on, right? So guys, I want to just know here, how many of you guys yesterday understood closures? Can everyone talk about it here? How many of you were able to understand, or how many of you did not attend that closure thing? Because the complete TypeScript will depend upon that. Not attended, not much. Yes, understood 80%, not much, not attended. Unfortunately, I could not. A lot of people could not attend yesterday's training, right? Okay, let me take that, guys. Let me take it, right? But remember, guys, when we go to the second lecture and third lecture, I hope you guys will do some practice, so I can move faster, right? So here it is. So let's understand what exactly is a closure. Okay. So here it is. I'll write this script out here. I have discussed yesterday, but today let me discuss it more around closures, and then I will go to TypeScript, right? So here it is. Now what happens is, in JavaScript, right, if you say you create a function, let us say you create a function. So I'll say I create a function here, function test. or let's say, yeah, function, let us say customer, assume. Okay. And you create here name is equal to Shiv, right? Or something like this. Address is equal to, you want to use this function as an object. I'm trying to make my point very clear. Let's say you want to use this function as an object, right? What people do is, what developers do, they write such kind of a code, this dot name, they write like this. So what developers can now do is, because a lot of developers are coming from object oriented background, they're without new keyword, they can't see anything. Without objects, without classes, without inheritance, without polymorphism, they don't even know how to start designing, right? So what happens here is he can say where x is equal to new customer, no problem, right? Okay, x dot name is equal to whatever, right? Then I can change it, I can write and so on, right? So I can create an object like this. This is called as constructor way of creating objects. Constructor way. Let me know, guys, if my mic is off or something. Yes, we are doing. We'll come to that. Yes. Okay. A lot of questions coming there. Okay. We have only 1 hour. So constructor based. This is called as constructor based of creating object, right? So if I want to create another instance, no problem, where x1 is equal to new customer, right? And x dot something, give it like Raju. Yep. No problem. This is all working good. Okay. So we have this customer instance, X is very different from X1. You change X, X1 does not get affected. You change X1, X does not get affected, right? Very nice. But now someone comes and runs customer like this. He invokes this function. He's not using the new keyword. See, JavaScript is a functional language, right? He invokes this function. He comes and says, I'm a functional programmer, I don't know new keyword. He invokes this function mistakenly, whatever, right? By doing so, what happens is, your so-called as self-contained object is no more self-contained. When you invoke this, what will happen? He will run this. This name variable and this address variable will become a global variable. Means now, look at this. If I say alert name, I will see the value Shiv. Means these so-called as local variables have become global, and that is disastrous. Think about that. You have a name here for something, you have created a var name here, and that name and this name is now colliding with each other. Global pollution, right? So if you see now with a direct invocation, if I do, this is a direct invocation, you can see this Shiv. Again, let me debug here, inspect. Let me go to sources tab. Right, refresh this. You can see here, it goes here, it does this, and this name which was supposed to be local is now global. Shiv is now a global variable, right? And that is very dangerous, right? So that means that there is no 100% guarantee that if you use this keyword, you will be protected. Remember, this keyword is not this. It is very dangerous. If you see this alert, it is actually the window object. Can you believe it? It's actually this. Literally, your variable has been created on the window object, and window is a global object, right? So if you see this code will, if you see here, so this is name, and also this variable has got created on the window object on the global DOM. Whole browser is now having access to the name. So that means that the function and the data has completely broken apart. Right? When you talk about objects, what do you say? Object has data and logic. A good object has self-contained data. There is nothing self-contained. Half leg has gone out. The function is running somewhere, and we are under confusion, right? So definitely this is not going to work. So we say, okay, like let's make it local. Fine. We say we don't do this. If you make it local, you are again having a problem. If you make it local, what will happen? This customer will run. It will create a local variable name. It will create an address, and after that, you have no access to this call. This call will run, it will create local variables, but nobody has access to this outside, right? So again, even though this is local, so if you see here, now we will not have a problem of global pollution, but so if you see, this will run, but now the name, oh, why is the name still shown as Shiv? That is so bad. Shouldn't the name be local? What happened there? I don't know why it is showing as local. Fine, here also it is showing as global variable. I'm now stunned actually. Where did I, let me close this. Let me close this. Yeah, that's what it should be. You know, that browser window was running, even if I refreshed. So must be that, because once you put a where keyword, everything is public, everything is local, right? So if you see now, sorry, yeah, my window was there and it was still there. But now even if I run this, right, this name is now local. It runs, it sets the value, it gone. Fine. Now that is again, I don't want. I want to access that instance. I want to hold that data together, right? So what you do, you create a closure now. You say that, okay, this is local. To access this name, I will create one more function. I will say set name. Set name value. Name is equal to value. This will set the value. Again, I'll create one more function. I'll say get name, because these are local variables. I cannot access outside. Okay. So get name, and I will say return name. Now what has happened? You have created setters and getters. If you ask in terms of .NET, you have a set and a get. But these set names and get names are local inside this function. They are local inside this function. To make it accessible outside, you have to write one more piece of code here. Return, make the set name public, and make the get name public. This return is like it's like a switch which says that, okay, this is public, this is public. Anything which is not here is not public, right? So you can think about that. This is the abstraction. Show only what you want. This is the encapsulation. You hide it, right? So fine, now we have it. Now what I can do? Now I can say where x, look at this. Now where x is equal to customer, x dot set name, let us say Raju. Now you can see I can hold that state of that function. Previously the function used to run and gone, but now I can hold it. I can hold it. The variables are private, self-contained objects, right? So now I'll say alert, let's say x dot get name. If I again invoke x1, 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 let's say Raja, this instance is different from this instance. And why not? Another one, if you use a new keyword, then that is very safe, right? So from all sides now, from all sides, either you use a new keyword, either you make a function call, I have a self-contained object, right? So here also, with a new keyword, everything is always safe, right? So, but still, so this one is also very much safe. So from new keyword, from function call. So if you see now, this is a closure. A closure is a function inside a function. It is a stateful function. You make a call, the function does not forget his data. Previously, what was happening? I make a call, the data is gone. Or I make the call, the data is gone to the global variable. Now, no, function and the variables are very much together. Now here it is. You can see this is the first call, whatever it is, right? Set name, right? Now, when I say get name, this will show Raju. Look at this. So this X is a different instance. Now look at it. This is the second one, X customer, right? This is second set name to Raja, get name Raja. So now you can see here, I cannot go and tamper. I cannot go and say here X dot name. No, not working. This will not work. This will not work, right? So let me exit from everywhere. I'm sorry. Just give me 2 minutes. Okay. So this is called as a closure. So that means that when you say you want to write a good component, in JavaScript, it has to be a closure. Okay. Now I will cover TypeScript and I'll come back. I'll come back to all questions. So that means that this is this kind of code. Okay. Before I go ahead, right? Let me also talk about something called as immediately invoked function expression. Okay. Let us Let us complete that as well. And then I will go to TypeScript, right? Okay, this is nice. You created a self-contained function. But now let us say someone goes and says here, where customer is equal to shadowing. If there is anything evil in JavaScript, or if there is anything, something in which I really feel bad about JavaScript, is shadowing. Now what has happened is this function customer has become a variable. It is shadowed. So think about it. You write a nice closure at the top called as customer, and somebody goes down and he just overrides it. So now what happens? You go and you say, okay, can I say where X is equal to new customer? You can't, because there is a global name collision, global name pollution. This name and this name is same. So what will happen now is this code will crash. So if I go here, you can see now, yeah, this is not an object, it is a variable, right? So if you see, suddenly we are having name collision problems. This is customer, that customer at the top has been completely overridden, and it says customer is not a constructor. Absolutely, it is not a constructor object, right? Boom. So what do we do now, right? For that, we have immediately invoked function expression, right? Immediately invoked function expression at the heart is nothing but it is a function without a name. Why is this problem happening? This problem is happening because you are giving a name of the function. When you don't give a name to a function, must be this name collision will not happen, right? So immediately invoked function says that something like this. If you look at how the immediately invoked function basic code looks like, it is like this: function without any name, and you immediately invoke it. Here it is, where X is equal to, if I go and if I say alert hello, so you can see now this code out. This is a very basic code I've written for iffy immediately invoked function expression, right? A big name, but this will immediately get invoked. Okay, that's what it says. If I just go and do like this, let me not put any name. So what will happen now, if I run this, this will immediately get invoked, right? But the goal of immediately invoked function expression is not for doing any initialization. A lot of developers say, oh, function, this immediately invoked function expression means we have to initialize variables. No, for that you have document onload event. You have thousands of events on init event. I don't know what kind of events are there. Lots of events are already there. So for that, I don't need this, right? But what this can help me is to avoid such kind of a pollution. So what I can do now, I can say, okay, this is function customer. I will wrap this, and we have a name collision problem. Huh? So function customer, let me wrap this up first. So this is wrapped into here, right? And I will say that this is customer namespace. So think about it, that these closures are part of a namespace. So I'll say customer namespace has customer, okay? And I will immediately invoke it. What I mean to say is now I have qualified it. Okay, means now again this function has this, remember this function has become local. So what you have to do out here is you have to, this is private, right? So you have to ensure that you have to again do a return saying that expose this customer object outside. Okay, I'll come to that. So this becomes very easy when you use TypeScript. Why I'm explaining you this, because this is so painful to write, right? So now I have a qualifier here. I'll say customer namespace customer. Now there is no collision. This guy is a customer. This is customer namespace is customer. So you can see because of iffy now, because of immediately invoked function expression, I have a qualifier, and my name collision can be avoided to a great extent, right? So now definitely nobody can create a variable, at least to my best knowledge, by saying like this, you can't create a global variable with the name dot, right? So collisions are very difficult to happen. You can't create a function with the name dot. You can't create anything with the name dot, right? So now what will happen is, here it is. this variable customer lives happily, and this guy is our customer object with get name and set name. So immediately invoked function expression, and the combination of immediately invoked function expression and the combination of closures helps you to write awesome JavaScript self-contained objects, right? So this is closures and iffy. But now the question comes is, sir, we have so much tight deadline and you are telling us to write all this nonsense code like this, and I don't even understand functional programming. How can I be productive? See, at the end of the day, we all know in the IT industry, everybody wants the next morning the output. And we start talking about this iffy and global, nothing will be completed then, right? And that's where we have TypeScript. TypeScript, right? So if you look at TypeScript, TypeScript increases your productivity. So I'm going to go and just type TypeScript. Remember, complete Angular is created by TypeScript, right? TypeScript does two things. If you look at even if you see how it says typed JavaScript at any scale. That's the slogan. First thing, let me tell you, TypeScript is created by a person who created C#, Anders. I'm very proud about it. This guy Anders, if you go and if you Google about Anders, he created Delphi, he created something else, he created C#, and now he's at the age of 60 and 65, he created TypeScript. I don't understand how one man can create so many frameworks and all of the frameworks are super hit. I don't know how you do that, right? But that guy created TypeScript. And one of the things about Anders, and that's why Microsoft has hired him, is always about productivity. How developer can code fast. Either he was doing VB6, either he was doing VC++, when he created C#, that web form drag and drop, or he says TypeScript, how you can quickly deliver. So at any scale, that's what they want to target. And typed JavaScript, strongly typed. People who come from Java, people who come from C#, they love this. Oh, strongly typed. They don't like these JavaScripts. X can become a animal and then X can become a human. They don't want all this. They want strongly typed, and TypeScript promises that, right? So first thing, to install TypeScript, you can go and you can say npm install. So that's Anders Helsberg. You can go and see his keynote out there. To install TypeScript, npm install TypeScript. That's the command. And please try to make it global. Npm install TypeScript -g, right? Once you do that, right, now what I can do is, now watch this. I'm going to go and create a new file. Already TypeScript is installed in my computer. So I'll say here tsc-v. I should see the TypeScript version, what is installed in my computer, right? So now let us say I go here and I say I want to create supplier.ts. In TypeScript we say ts, right? Now what he says first thing is, okay, you don't want to write the closures, you don't want to write the iffy, so go ahead, say okay, like class supplier. Use your class keyword. You want it to be strongly typed, isn't it? Right? So I'll say, okay, I want it to be strongly typed. So ID and give a data type like number. Means what? I cannot go and set this ID to a string. In JavaScript, you can do anything, right? But look at this. You can't do this now, right? So in short, that word which comes typed JavaScript, it's making JavaScript strongly typed. You can think about TypeScript as a very nice coat and a hat, which does strong typeliness. It makes your classes creation easy and so on, right? So now I've done this. So ID, let us say I will say name. I also want a name string, right? Let's say active. Is it active or not? This customer Boolean. So you can see now we have used a class and so on, right? So now if I go and now what TypeScript does, TypeScript is a transpiler. It will take this class and it will make it JavaScript. So I'll say a TSC and let's say supplier.ts. Let's compile this project. Let's compile this file. Supplier. So when I do this, he generates supplier.js. So there it is, supplier.js, and look at it. The same code which I wrote, and I don't like this code actually, but it does the work. You can see, remember I talked about it. This is the closure function inside a function. This makes it public. This is that immediately invoked function expression. This is that closure function inside a function. This is that closure. What I don't like about here is, and which I don't know if this video is reaching Mr. Anders or not. I'm sure that a lot of JavaScript community is already talking about this. Why did you use this keyword? Why? Why we can't make this var ID? Why didn't you take the pain of writing the setter and getter? So, and that's what Microsoft does very good, right? They create web forms, they create code behind, you go till and they say, oh, like this is bad, all is bad, right? So there is this one thing which I really don't like about TypeScript is that this keyword. The whole point, we were trying to avoid here was that this keyword should not be there because this goes and spills to Windows, right? But they use this here, right? And you can see again all the, but now here is the point, right? With that small negativeness, when we look at the big positiveness, that I can now, I have this code ready. I don't have to write that those things, for example, now let us say you want to do inheritance, say, okay, class, supplier child, extends supplier. Now, if I have to do this inheritance by using JavaScript, I have to use prototype, I have to use this, I have to do so many things. Now, what I've done, I've just said extends, and then all that code he does for me, right? So I think what is happening now is the TypeScript, the TypeScript is used to increase your productivity. So that's the two message: strongly typed JavaScript and have productivity at any scale, right? So Angular uses TypeScript extensively. The complete Angular is developed using TypeScript only. That's why Angular can release versions faster, right? So guys, the last topic which I've taken today, almost we have 10 minutes now. So what is TypeScript? So first what I did is I made you explain, I tried to explain you guys closures and iffy. And I told you how tough it is to write. Then I talked about TypeScript, lab 5. I said that TypeScript, which gives you two things, strongly typed and productivity. Typed and productivity. Also, yes, there are those small things, which people don't like, this keyword and so on. You can Google about it. Already JavaScript community is complaining about it, but I think there are reasons for putting this keyword, right? So guys, now I'll go through all now. Let me go to questions here. So we will now stop learning. I know that it's almost now 50 minutes have been crossed. So we talked about Node. We talked about NPM. We talked about package.json. We talked about TypeScript. Today's first Sunday, we did the prerequisite of Angular. For Angular, you have to know NPM. You have to know package.json. You have to know TypeScript. So that is done. In the next lecture, I will run the first Angular application, right? So now let me go to questions here. I will try to go from the start, right? I will try to go from the start out here. Let me see how much I can cover. I'm so sorry, guys. I know a lot of people are there today. Let me see. Let me take 15 minutes to answer the questions. So will you be posting all the lab and exercises? Absolutely. In QuestPoint Teachable and everywhere. Yes, I'll be posting all the labs. Could you please explain Visual Studio IDEO as we'll be using .NET Core? Okay, I'll come to that. We'll come to error handling. We'll come to JWT token. Guys, this is the first lab. I understand your pain points. For a job seeker, which is good? A very important question. Angular or React? For a job seeker, which is good? Angular, React. Guys, I'll tell you, do both of them. Expand your vision. Expand your resume. I would say do both of them because both of them are having good job opportunities. Do MVC Core at the back end. Do both of them enough, to do a CRUD application. I will suggest to do both of them. This Saturday, Sunday, 4 Saturday, Sundays, I'll tell you that both of them will be done here only, right? So please do both of them. If somebody wants to really say React with them, you can stick to one. That is also okay. If somebody says, no, I don't want to learn so much, fine. Take any one of them. You'll have a job. If you're asking me preference, I prefer this. Why do I prefer this? Why do I prefer this? Because the job opportunities on Naukri.com are very high in Angular and MVC Core. See, remember, Angular uses TypeScript. TypeScript was created by Mr. Anders. Mr. Anders works for Microsoft C#. So there is a kind of an automatic gel between all of these guys. So what is happening is down also, when you go to companies, right, they, by natural leaders tying up together, the Angular with MVC Core is more in Rise. But React is also there with MVC Core, heavy in Rise. I will leave it to you. If you're asking me very specific, Angular with MVC Core, if you're asking me, do both of them if possible, right? I will cover SAS, yes. Let's, okay. Okay, let me go, unfortunately. Okay, let's, okay. Okay. Calling function within a function. Yes. Let me go inside it. Yes, very right, Arun. Stateful functions. I don't find common to code like React, like JavaScript mixes. Okay, very good question from Mr. Kishan Shetri here. I don't find comfortable to code in React like it uses JavaScript mixes with JavaScript. You are talking about JSX, right? See, now this is about what your genes are. See, all developers are different. Some people want to code something separately. Some people want to mix it, right? But that's how React does. React works. It mixes by using JSX. It has a mixing HTML. If you don't like it, stick to Angular, right? Not a problem. But that's how they do it, right? And here, yes, you have separate files. Absolutely. Okay, what is Angular CLI? Okay. There are some others. JWT, I will answer all later on. Okay, Pavan Kumar, let's take this question. Bootstrap requires jQuery for some. How did we will use in Angular? Should we use jQuery in Angular or not? Okay, here it is. If you're using Angular or React, avoid jQuery. Initially, when Angular came in, I knew that we didn't have jQuery, like something like Grid. We didn't have autocomplete box, but for now, I'll say Angular and React are very matured now. You don't need jQuery at all until there is something which you like of jQuery, like some autocomplete box or some JS chart or something, then it is okay. Or else I'll say avoid jQuery completely, right? Okay. Yeah, Mohit, everything is public. Okay, let is for local or where for local. Where is for local? Where is for local? Where is for local? Is closure a concept of JavaScript? Yes, closure is a concept of JavaScript. Yes, closure is a concept of JavaScript. What does namespace mean? Namespace means it's a logical grouping, which can be grouping of a function, which can be grouping of an object, right? So namespace is a logical grouping. It's a logical grouping. For example, I said customer namespace dot customer and invoice dot customer. So must be, you can do like this, okay, inside the invoice namespace, you can say this is a customer. And then you will say, oh, for billing, again, I have a customer. So now here you have a namespace, because if you just say customer, then it can become very confusing, right? So by putting a namespace, by putting a qualifier, this is customer which belongs to the invoice project. This is customer which belongs to the billing project. Okay, when we can use inheritance in type, that has been implemented prototype in JavaScript. When we have used inheritance, okay, I don't know what the question is. Then what has it been implemented prototypes in JS? Yes. So when you do inheritance in TypeScript, that prototypes in JS will be used automatically, Sumedha. It will happen automatically. Okay, from Chandan Kumar, again, the same question. What should I do? If you're asking me very explicitly, do Angular. Or I will say, leave it to Naukri.com. Go to your favorite job portal, search Angular MVC 20,000 jobs or React MVC 31,000 jobs. Whatever wins should be your way of learning, right? Look at the job market. Don't try to learn. See, at the end of the day, I am, with all respect, guys, I want to teach you, but at the same time, I don't want to see you jobless, right? And just learning. So look at the job market. And as I've said also, I personally like Angular with MVC because there are lots of opportunities, more than React, at least in India. Now, in some other region, there can be differences. You can search your local job portal, right? In next class, please go over VS Code itself. Okay, Muko, I'll take this. Okay. I can see a lot of people have said VS Code. So I don't know. So in the next class, in React, before I start with React, I'll just take the basics of VS Code. I don't know. A lot of our friends are saying, please, some VS Code. Let me put it out here. Basics of VS Code. Let me do that. I'll take that. I got it. Right. Is there any, so I have followed all your video segment. Thank you for your effort. Thank you very much, Sneha. You are the Anders of training. That is no, I'm no, Anders is someone is, so leave that. Okay. A lot of praises here. Thank you for that. Hello, sir. Can we cover how to design decouple architecture? Yes, Deepak, I will be talking about dependency injection. I will be talking about dependency injection. I will be talking about those things, right? So yes, SDI. Blazor, Syed will talk about Blazor later on. So keep that aside. I want to learn all the concept of type. Venkat, good question from Venkata here. I want to learn all the concept of TypeScript. I want to learn all the concept of JavaScript, closures, IFI, hoisting. Why you want to lose stamina? Let's do like this. I can take 2 days of TypeScript 16 hours, but it makes no sense. You guys have already done some classes, some objects, some inheritance, right? So I will say that just go with my flow, Venkata. Anything which I feel of TypeScript, I have to highlight it. I will surely highlight it. Don't worry. Our goal is to start with Angular, get into Angular, do a project, and be ready for interviews. That's what the goal of this complete 4 weeks of classes, at least what I'm trying, right? We can have us, I can have, like, I'm taking 16 hours of TypeScript, but what I see is that you already done C#, then you know what is inheritance, you know what is polymorphism, you know a little bit of interfaces, right? If that is not the thing, then we can have a separate class, right? So for now, guys, let us see that. Okay. Can we have a lab for doing this? Let me take this question of Naveen. Guys, I have 22. Guys, I'm extending this class for 10 minutes more because I have like 70 questions here. I don't know how I will answer all of them, but let me take like 5-10 minutes and let me try to. Can we have a lab for third-party UI components such as grids and controls? Very good, Naveen. Very good question. So here it is. On your request, in Angular and in React, I'm adding one more to my list here. Reusable components. Here also, I will add in Angular how to create a reusable component. For example, in Angular, we use something called as input output. We'll do that. Don't worry. Right. Okay. Let's move. Good suggestions. Remember, guys, the syllabus is not really fixed. The syllabus I can expand if I see that there is some value addition. Okay. Use page footer, and yeah, don't worry on that. That is already there. The navigation and so on. That is there. Don't worry on that. Will you be covering Redux in Angular? Redux will be there in React. In Angular, we have something else. So I will be covering state management. Let me do that. So state management by using some third party. I put that, not really Redux, but we have something else there. Oh my God, there are so many questions out here. Okay, guys, I can see. I'll be covering lazy loading. Yes. I'll be covering. Should we have in-depth of JavaScript knowledge to learn Angular? I know now this question is very much subjective. A lot of my students say that, no, you don't teach people, right? You try to make a shortcut out of it. But frankly, that's how today's frameworks are. See, I'm telling you, learn enough. For example, in JavaScript, I will not be teaching you for loops. There is no point. You can learn it. If conditions, no, I will not be teaching you. Closures, yes. You have no idea of closures, I'll teach you. Ify, no idea of it, I'll teach you, right? But I will not be teaching something which you already know, like hoisting. Yes, that's going to happen, right? So JavaScript also, guys, learn that thing, which you don't know. So for loops, if conditions, alerts, etc. I'm sorry, those I'm not taking here. So the enough JavaScript I've already taught. And what happens is most of the time you don't build JavaScript here, you deal with TypeScript. For React, I will be taking a lot of JavaScript because React is very near to the JavaScript framework. So there I have to teach. For Angular, that closures, and then later on, everything TypeScript. TypeScript takes care of it, right? That's why I told you, right? There is a wall in between of Angular and JavaScript, TypeScript. There is no wall in between of React and JavaScript. They are like very good friends, right? So, okay, let's take this question. I got so many questions here, guys. I have no knowledge on JS, but I have little knowledge on TS. So is it mandatory to know JS for React? Yes, it is mandatory to know little bit of JS for React. Shravan, that little bit of JS I will teach you in the class. Don't worry. Go with my flow. Don't stress too much. See, if you're putting a bottleneck in your head saying that, oh, if I don't do two hours or like 2 days of TypeScript training, I won't be doing Angular. These things are coming from those trainers who want to increase their syllabus timelines. I'm telling you from where it is coming from. Today, every day new JavaScript framework is coming on. We can't have our training module like the old style. So go with my flow. Late learning. I will teach you when the time will come. Don't worry on that, right? Will you be covering lazy loading? Absolutely. Lazy loading, isn't it part of it? Lazy loading should be a part of it. No, it is not. Why not? Why not? And lazy loading should be here as well. Let me do that. Let's see. See, remember, we are. I will try to do a symmetrical learning so that you can see both of them. SAS less along with these courses. Mohit, yeah, I'll take that. Okay. We are covering from scratch, Chandan. We are covering from scratch, right? Okay, guys, I know that there are lots of questions, guys. Can everyone do like this? I can see question from Nidhi and everyone out here. I'm so sorry, guys. It's time up now. And in the next class, I will take up these questions. Can you please send your question? Just copy paste it and send it at questpond@questpond.com. Let me see how much I can answer, right? So today, what we completed? Today, we completed the prerequisite of Angular. What is Node? NPM demos, package.json, closures and IFI, and how this is solved very easily by using TypeScript, right? So thank you very much, guys. And before I end this class, right, I want to just tell you, because we are learning TypeScript, we are learning C#, we are learning MVC, right? So it's time that we have to just say thanks to Mr. Anders Helsberg, right? So that's the hero whom I admire. And as I've told you that this guy, he is 60 years of old age. He has learned Turbo. He created Turbo Pascal. He created Delphi. He went to create C#, and he has created TypeScript, right? So that's the kind of technical person he is. So must be, everybody just Google Anders and just see. So that's why I like what I like about TypeScript. There is an old man with so much knowledge. He has made TypeScript, and we can trust it. Last time when I was in Angular India, I was talking with the core team of Angular. Just a simple talk which I had. I asked them, Angular is from Google, right? Why did you guys go and embrace to Microsoft? Google and Microsoft are definitely, I will not say against, but they are rival in a lot of sense, right? What the Angular team told me, right? The maturity of TypeScript, the time they know that Anders is creating TypeScript, no one questions about the maturity of that language, because look at the knowledge base he has. He created Turbo, Delphi, C#, already 3-4 frameworks he has created. And all that knowledge he will put into TypeScript is going to be wonderful, isn't it? So TypeScript was so famous, it's so famous today also, that Angular team embraced TypeScript. Internally in Angular, in Google, there was other framework like TypeScript which they were trying to push. It did not work out. It did not work out. Angular team goes to Microsoft. Microsoft team goes to Angular. So that's a kind of a wonderful thing what Anders has done. And that's how open sources work, right? The companies can fight with each other, but the open sources can tie up them together, right? So I end this class out here. Thank you very much, everyone. Thanks a lot. And we'll again continue next Saturday. React. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.